Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about evaluating expressions. Evaluating expressions is just like plugging and chugging along through the problem. In other words, that means replacing the variable with the number that it represents in the equation and solve. So let's take a look at this first example. I have 7x plus 3y. And they give me the information that x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. So my first step is to replace the x with the 1 and the y with the 2. Notice how I do not have any variables anymore. They were replaced with numbers. From here, I'm going to complete this problem using order of operations. When I have a number next to another number in parentheses, or a number next to a letter, that automatically means multiplication. So I am going to do 7 times 1, and over here, 3 times 2. I know that 7 times 1 is 7, and I know that 3 times 2 is going to be 6. I did multiplication first because in order of operations, multiplication comes before addition. And I know that 7 plus 6 is equal to 13. And I have my final answer. Let's take a look at another problem. In this example, I have negative x minus 2y. I wrote this problem for the specific reasons that there are multiplication signs. Those can be a little tricky. I'm going to do the exact same steps that I did before. I'm going to replace the x with 1 and the y with negative 3. So I have a negative parentheses 1, because that took the place of my x, minus 2 multiplied by negative 3. When there is a negative right in front of the parentheses with no number in there, I can assume that that number is 1. So I have negative 1 times 1. Over here, I'm going to change the subtraction sign to be a positive and make that to a negative. So I did change opposite, just so that I can see that that is going to be the problem of negative 2 times negative 3. I'm now going to complete order of operations. So negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And that is being added to negative 2 times negative 3, which I know is 6. Adding those together, I have the answer of 5. Now I'm going to go on to my next example. This one has a squared sign, and it has an x and an x. They included a y. They're being a little tricky. Since there is no y in my equation, I am not even going to use it. So I'm going to replace my 2 wherever I see an x. So right here, I see an x. And right here, I see an x. So I replace 2 with anywhere I saw an x. Now I'm going to complete order of operations. Order of operations tells me to do exponents first. Of course, after parentheses, but I can't do anything in my parentheses, so I'm going to go straight to exponents. 2 squared is 4. And now I'm going into my multiplication. 3 times 2 I know is 6. and 4 plus 6 is equal to 10. One last problem I'm going to do for you today. It looks really big, but the idea of the previous problem still apply. Plug and chug. Plug in what you know and solve using order of operations. I am going to use 1 for x, -2 for y, and 0 for z. That is being subtracted by 1 times -2. Doing what's inside the parentheses first. 1 plus -2 plus 0, I know is -1. And that is being subtracted by 1 times -2, which I know is -2. Before I changed opposite in order to make that negative go away, you can of course do that again. I'm just showing the other method. Now I have -1 minus -2. This would definitely be an opportunity to change opposite. So I'm going to change that subtraction sign to a positive and this negative to a positive. Now I have -1 plus 2 to get my answer of 1. Please write down any questions you have. I hope that this is helpful to you, but please ask any questions that you have.